obviously one of the perks of actually being Alex Zanardi rather than just a normal person. And you went up in the Z4. Could you just talk us through some of the modifications that were made to that car?
After my accident, of course, I had different priorities, but then the day where I could live my life again to in the best possible way from a technical point of view, in the sense that I did my rehabilitation with my prosthetical legs, and I was once more comfortable, let's say, technically speaking, on my daily routine. Well, it was normal that I start to reapproach old passions, one of which is the bigger probably of which is motorsport. And at the time I had the opportunity to drive a BMW 320, which was entered into the European Touring Car Championship from Roberto Ravaglia's team. Roberto used to drive for BMW himself with a lot of success in the 80s and in the 90s. To cut a long story short, after that test I did, things went so well where I was offered from BMW Italy to take part into the last race of the European Championship, which was going to be held in Monza. And from then, you know, in Italy we say appetite will develop by eating, and and that was really true. You know, I started to compete in the season, and we developed some more advanced controls, which allowed me to drive the car to the best of my ability. Basically, I had and I still have a big ring under the steering wheel itself, which allows me to operate the throttle mechanism. I have a little butterfly mounted on the bottom in the center of the steering wheel, which electronically drives a mechanism that allows me to operate the clutch. And as far as the brakes, this is kind of difficult to understand, because you say, Alex, you have no legs, but yes, I am still operating the brake pedal with my leg, with the force of my hip, by pressing down and using my prosthetical knee joint as a joint, and thanks to a special shoe which would trap my prosthetical foot onto the brake pedal the entire time, I could deliver the pressure it would take to slow the car down. And this was tough to believe also to the engineers. The first time I asked the question to see whether they were prepared to realize me the solution, they said, Alex, it's impossible, you know, in a racing car you don't have power brakes, so you need to apply more than 100 kilos, which is more than 200 pounds of pressure on that pedal. How can you do that with your amputation? And it was just too hard to convince them, and I could certainly not do it by numbers or speaking the engineer's language. So I went home, I picked up the ohm scale, the one that you use to check daily your weight, and I went back to the shop, placed the scale up against the wall, and had the engineer, the most skeptical one, you know, once that is set on the floor with somebody holding him from the back, I said, try to apply pressure as you were braking into the race car, and he could do like 98, 99 kilos. He couldn't reach the 100 mark. So I said, now it's my turn, and I went for it, and I did it immediately, 120. I said, is that enough? He said, whoa, that's plenty. So they went on and developed the system I had in mind, and we started from there. And basically what I still have today is an evolution of that primitive system, in the sense that now the mechanism which traps my foot into the brake pedal is not longer a sort of a second shoe, but is an arm with a shaft that comes straight into my foot and inside my tibia, which is a tube. I have a special foot with an hole underneath, and that is in order to save space in the car, because last year in Spa we had to spare, you know, that space available. I had to spare that space available with my teammates who are able bodies. So they had their own dedicated area and I had my own. So I had brake pedal on the far right, footrest on the far left. They had a second brake pedal in middle left, and throttle mechanism or pedal on the right. And as far as the steering wheel, every time we were doing the driver change, we were changing steering wheel, and I was bringing in mine, and vice versa when it was their turn to drive.
So they didn't have that second ring behind the steering wheel to control the throttle?
No. Actually, Bruno Spengler, who is an excellent driver, fantastic driver, offered himself to try. He said, Alex, to save some time or to save some troubles to the engineers, I could probably drive with your stuff in it. And I said, Bruno, okay, but let me ask you a question. Think you are in the middle of the Eau Rouge corner. It's a very fast chicane going uphill. Most of you, I'm sure, are familiar with what I'm talking about. And think that in the middle of the night, a Ferrari or a Porsche or whatever gets sideways, and you have a drama where you have to check the throttle, brake hard, car goes sideways, you have to regain control of the car, you're tired. Are you gonna say that all that stuff is not gonna pay any difference, or is that maybe gonna be the difference between regaining control of the car or crashing it up against the wall? And I said, yeah, I better have my own steering wheel, So that was the answer, but at the end of the day, I think we did a favor to the engineers, because their interest is in developing stuff, and very often they can answer the question, but the most difficult part is posing the right question, not finding the right answer. In Munich, and also thanks to the support Shell gave us, we have the technology to answer most of the questions, but to find what is the right one, it's the difficult task very often.
No, fantastic. When you're talking about development of the modifications to the car, how did the idea to get back into the car come about? Where was the conversation that led you to actually sort of get back behind the wheel?
Well, after my accident, I had different priorities, as I said. I mean, there were days where people were asking me, Alex, would you ever jump or step into a race car again? And probably behind the question, or what was leading that question, was the belief that the thing that would stop me the most was more a mental impediment rather than a technical one, if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Psychological, rather.
Psychological, right. But at the end of the day, every one of us is made his own way, and the way I am, I never thought that what happened, I went searching for troubles, I mean, this is the way life it is, and you have to accept the idea that something may happen to every one of us. And certainly the fact that I had an accident didn't make me any more vulnerable than others. Actually, if these days I break one of my leg, it only takes a 4mm screw to fix it, whether for you guys it would be a little harder. So I'm less vulnerable to a certain degree. So I knew that I could do it, but I didn't know how technically. But in any case, again, as I said, in the first time of my rehabilitation, my priorities were different. I mean, I couldn't even go on the toilet on my own. So how could I think about driving a race car? When the day came, of course, motorsports has always been a big passion of mine, and it's pretty normal that I was attracted once more from this world, from this type of business. I mean, if the question was, Alex, do you want to drive a race car again? Or Alex, do you want to try to take some ballet dancer lessons? Of course, I would opt more for driving a race car rather than the other option, So it was just a very natural process. Of course, BMW played a big role in it, because it's a huge company with a very high reputation, and they're not like in the market for more exposure. They have a worldwide exposure. And for me, the fact that they were behind this project in helping me to try to achieve what I did, it's a very important factor, because there was a lot of thinking behind. since there was a day where, watching it all from the outside, the odds were more in favor of having a big fail rather than down the road enjoy the success we had together. But still, they consider very well the project, and finally, for them to decide to execute it made me believe that they were thinking like I was, that it was possible. So whenever we, and I say we because we did it together, whenever we were able to enjoy once more a day of success, which happened in 2005 in Oschersleben, when I won my first race after the accident at a very high level, because that was the WTCC World Touring Car Championship. I guess we were certainly very, very happy, extremely happy, but not surprised, because we wouldn't have been there if we didn't think it was possible to do so.
Oh, fantastic. I'm just going to swerve from motorsport just for a second. You're gearing up for Rio, which is not too far away. What's your sort of preparation schedule looking like? And what does it mean to you to possibly be looking for another couple of Paralympic golds in a few months' time?
Well, first of all, I have to admit that my trainer is very angry with me being here this weekend in Goodwood, not only because I'm not going to work for 3 days, but also because I'm going to get very tired. I mean, yesterday I got up at 4 to catch my flight in order to be here, and today I didn't get up that early, but I will go to bed much later. And tomorrow is going to be once more a very hard day, but it's worth. It's worth because it's fantastic what I'm doing here this weekend, and the support you guys are giving me. It's what really made it possible in my life, not only my racing career. So I am someone who's very lucky because I had the privilege of turning my passions into a profession. And a new passion of mine is paracycling. I discovered paracycling in 2007 as I was asked to go to New York for the marathon, in connection to the marathon, because I was invited to an event. And I said, well, if I have to go to New York, I may as well do the marathon. And I didn't even know, I mean, I saw a picture of that strange vehicle that would allow disabled people like me to cover the distance, but I didn't even knew the name of it. And that's the way it started, and then I developed a big passion for it, and at the end of 2009 I decided to quit motorsports, at least at the time, to see if I could improve the level of my game high enough to qualify for the Olympic Games of London. The rest is history. Not only I did qualify, but I went to London to live my dream and to win 2 gold medals at the first attempt, which is amazing. And then I won more World Championship, and here I am preparing for a second appearance at the Paralympic Games. The problem is that I am approaching my 50s, and every year is harder and harder. Not to be the opposition, because that's not the main target, but it's more to repeat the same values which were for me sufficient in order to beat them all and to enjoy the success I had. What can I say? I'm gonna try my best, and that's the name of the game. Do your best and be happy with it. If I get them all, I'm gonna be as happy as a pig in shit, as you guys say. If this doesn't happen, well, I guess I will have to find what it takes to smile, to raise the glass, and to shake the hand of the winner. And then from the following day, I will work on a new project.
That's fantastic news. Just one more question, because I know you're very busy. Obviously, Festival of Speed for the first time. What are you most excited by? What have you enjoyed the most? What are you looking forward to the most over the course of this weekend?
I don't want to sound rhetorical. You would excuse me if I say this, but really, the thing that I enjoy the most is to see people coming to me, having something very personal to say. The support I get, the fact that evidently what happened to me not only is not that magical for me, doesn't feel that magical, but it is not magical, because I know that technically speaking what I did it's just a result of a daily routine in which every day was a new opportunity to make a little step forward, you know, and one after the other, I was able one day to return to the circuit where I had my accident, where I almost lost my life, and drive the same car and complete the race, doing those 13 laps I missed in 2001 and I completed in 2013. And I understand that, you know, for the people who saw me leaving the circuit in the helicopter, almost dead, with my heart stopped 7 times, because of my heart stopped 7 times. I was given so much blood when they got me up to Berlin Hospital that they should have awarded me a passport as well, a German passport. You know, to see me just 1 year after that doing exactly the same thing I was doing before, more or less in the same way, it's normal to say, wow, it's a miracle, but it's not a miracle. Nevertheless, my story, for the way it developed throughout the course of my life, has this type of magic surrounding that has trapped so many people's imagination. And every time someone comes to me and say, Alex, wow, Alex, you've been so important for me in that particular time of my life. You know, I was having these troubles and your story was so inspirational. I know that that is not the case, because I'm not a role model. I am not any special. But so what? If I was special for that person that day, this is what, you know, eats my heart, and is what I am once more enjoying the most here in Goodwood. You know, the having the possibility to have a relationship with all the people who made it possible, the fans. You know, people who helped me to turn my passion into a profession. So, guys, thank you very much.
Awesome, thank you very much, Alex. It's an absolute pleasure having you over the show, Sam. Enjoy the rest of your festival.
Yeah, especially because now it's time to go back driving, so...
Perfect, and the sun's going
Stop
as
all
well.
the bullshit, huh?
Thanks very much.